a penny to buy mango ripe. I want a penny to buy mango ripe. I want a penny to buy mango ripe. I want a penny to buy mango ripe. What is this cookie? Mango me, mango me. What is this cookie? Mango me, mango me. I want a penny to buy mango ripe. I want a penny to buy mango ripe. I want a penny to buy mango ripe. Buenos dias. Sorry, buenos tardes. Okay. Good afternoon. First, let me thank Dr. Ronald and the staff of the University of Veracruz for your hospitality, for inviting me here to share some of our experiences in small island states like the Caribbean islands of St. Lucia. My presentation this morning will be sort of a work in progress. It's not a complete research program, but it's a work in proprietary process that is taking place, which I want to share with you so that we could gain ideas in how to deal with the issues of our time. So I want to change somewhat the geography of presentation. That's why when I came up, I was celebrating our Mango-ness. It's a celebration. Mango in its original language, in the Sanskrit, means gay. Not gay as in the present day gay, but happy. Because during the mango season, everybody used to be happy. Kids, grown-ups, old people, you see it fall all over their faces, and animals ate them, birds were rejoicing, you could hear them chirping in the trees, and so forth. So I want to sort of change. I like the professorial approach, but I prefer the Socratic approach where there's a dialogue between my audience and I. So we will be talking. I will try to have a merger of the two approaches. I believe in a merger of the two approaches. So I will be asking questions. I will be engaging you, just like we got engaged when I sang that little folk song of mine. Mango ripe, mango sweet is a folk song from St. Lucia. Mangoes are usually in full season during the summer holidays, when all school children are having a good time. We go to the beach, we pick mangoes, we don't even have breakfast, we eat, everybody is happy, even the dogs are happy. Everything is happy. So I call this lecture Exploring Our Caribbean Mango-ness. Okay. Exploring our Caribbean Mango-ness and its biocultural heritage as a keystone species contributing to biodiversity conservation, sustainability, and livelihood, including wildlife sustainability. So it's a comprehensive look at our a plant as a keystone species. The word keystone means an essential plant for survival. That's where the term was born. Our activities are surrounded around it, whether it's livelihood, economics, yes, economics, money, the environment, and man behave as though they are the pandemic species and everything is below them. But no, we have to coexist with the rest of biodiversity. The bees, Einstein said if the bees die, humanity start dying. So we need to coexist with the bees. We cannot cut down all the trees and they have nothing to feed on because they're the ones that pollinate. So it's a comprehensive look at a plant, and it came under scrutiny of the pertinent questions of our time. And I want to ask you, what do you think are the pertinent issues of our time? Somebody can translate the pertinent issues, the issues that are burning in our time in the 21st century. What comes to mind? Climate change, for example. It's a burning issue. Floods, rising sea levels. Yes?
Yes.
What are the other issues?
Biodiversity lost.
Biodiversity lost, correct. Food
Poverty.
security, no?
Poverty.
Poverty, economics, livelihood, excellent.
Health problems.
Health, exactement. Health cost is high. You go to the doctor, they feed you with pills, and you go back and they take money and they send you to the pharmacy. And we have a whole lot of health problems all around the world. Diabetes in my country, for example. Hypertension. And several of these burning states, especially in small island states where we have limited resources. Markets are difficult for us to get in. Banana, our chief export crop, we've lost that preferential treatment in 1992 and our economy just collapsed. They boom, our economies boom and bust. So these are the issues that we are struggling with as a small island state and by extension the world. And so we fought, a group of us decided to come together called chefs, decide to come together and see how we can address the problems, the challenges, use indigenous solutions to our local challenges. Many a times we go to these big conferences like COP20. Is it 20 or 22? What is it now? 22 now. And we come with all of these ideas from COP, but it doesn't apply on the ground. So you got to think globally, but you must act locally. And that is our challenge, I think, in different parts of the world. And therefore we came up, we surveyed our own environment, and we decided that there is something we can do collectively and individually to cushion the impact of climate change. And so that's how this project was birthed and born. So just for introduction and orientation purposes, this is the Caribbean, and I come from that part of the Caribbean, all the way down here, Santa Lucia. It's an archipelago. We are like an arch between Miami and Venezuela. That's our area. So you have Cuba at the top, you have Haiti, Dominican Republic, you have Puerto Rico, you have Jamaica, and then you go down, and you find us here. Tiny island. We are very close to the Grenadines, and of course Trinidad and Tobago. So we are influenced. The historians believe that the folks, the early ancestors, the original people of the Caribbean, came from South and Central America, using canoes, and they moved across. And that's how these islands were first populated. Sorry. This is St. Lucia. This is the map of St. Lucia. That's my island. 238 square miles. 238. It's very small. But muy bonito. It's in the middle of the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. We have a population of 170,000. Not many people. But as I said, it's a paradise. This is our Tupiton's most famous landmarks. It's a World Heritage Site with at least 4 vegetative life zones. And at the very summit of Petit Piton, the very summit, I discovered the plant nutroscience in my botanical exploits, which was named after me, and it's called Bernardia Laurentii, after my first name. But this is a World Heritage Site designated by UNESCO. Just to show you the immaculate beauty of the island, I put that slide in. Okay, you know I'm representing chefs, sorry. I'm representing chefs. It's Caribbean Holistic Enterprise for Food Security and Sovereignty. We believe that food issues by the year 2500, according to the UN, we would have serious food shortages and problems with food. So this is an issue for us. And so we looked around and we've used bananas. Bananas collapse. Bananas are very vulnerable, which I'll show later. And several other things. So we decided that we would look at what we have and work with what we have. So my abstract, maybe I should just read parts of it. Just as the Caribbean is celebrated for its ethnic diversity and is enriched by our mixed gene pool, so too is our region's biodiversity, enhanced by the introduction of diverse plant species. Chief among them is mango, Mangifera indica, known as the king of fruits. This paper celebrates our Caribbean Mango-ness in all its diversity within our biocultural heritage as a keystone multi-purpose species. Some plants are multi-purpose, but they are not keystone. Keystone means a lot of things have to surround you, must revolve around you. Medicine, you're good for medicine, you're good for food, you're an economic plant, you're good for the environment, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Because you could be multi-purpose but not a keystone. And I will show that later in my presentation. Which is utilized and exploited for basic necessities of life, food, water, medicine, shelter, and reforestation for cushioning the impact of climate change. This is the crux of my paper. A plan that can do all of those things that could help us to adapt to climate change. I will not go through the entire abstract, so I leave it to your imagination as I move on. So this is one of the pitons, and this is mango in full bloom. It's a naturalized species. Mango is not original, and many a times we speak about the indigenous species. It's important, but also the introduced species have enriched our flora. Introduced species have enriched humanity. For example, cocoa from your country has given us a gift. Peru, Solanacea, if the potatoes, that's a gift to humanity. And you could go on and on. Brazil, rubber. Exactly. So when you look at the movements of plants and people, they are interrelated. They go together. If you look at the history of mankind, our mythologies, our stories, our master stories have to do with human and plants. Like in the Bible, you have the Garden of Eden. In Buddhism, Buddha gets enlightenment on a tree, etc., etc., etc. And when you look at slavery, it was surrounded around cotton, tobacco, sugar, and so on and so forth. And indeed, Columbus came to this part of the world because he was looking for a new trade route to sell his spices. So humanity and plants, we are so interrelated on the biological level, but also on the economic level, on health, etc., etc., etc. So plants are gifts to humanity, and mango is one of these gifts that was given to us to enrich our flora. So today I will set aside indigenous species and celebrate what Asia gave to the world. Mangifera indica, mango. So this is mango in full bloom, and when we see mango in bloom, We are very happy. And mango grows in several vegetative life zones. It's a very versatile plant. From the seashore to more than 3,000 feet or 1,000 meters, you would find mangoes. It is more prolific at the lower level, but still you get it and it feeds wildlife at the higher level. So it's a very important plant that was introduced to our flora. Well, why mangoes? They say it's the king of fruits. We all know it's from the Anacardiaceae family. And the purpose, as I've said before, is to examine mangoes in the light of climate change, sustainable livelihood, and the word sustainable is crucial. Food security, very crucial. For humans, but not humans only, but wildlife. Wildlife is crucial in the process. And why wildlife? Any farmer will tell you, and I will expound and propound on that a little later. If you plant tomatoes and peppers, and the birds have no food in the trees, they would come and eat your mangoes, your peppers and your whatever. So when there is food, and that is lived experience, I have experienced that. You have your farm with peppers and etc., tomatoes, for example. If there are no mangoes, the birds would eat all your crop. If there are mangoes, they rather feast on the mangoes and leave your crop alone. That is my lived experience. And that is what I'm talking about today. What we experience in our everyday life that we need to learn from our environment and apply it for our sustainability, for our health and our wealth. Health is wealth. So, mango used for a tree crop in support of sustainable land use management. Mango varieties in St. Lucia, we have about 34 varieties. 4 of them are very, very common. They are everywhere. 7 are very rare varieties. Some people don't even know them, but researchers do. And mango is very prolific. The germplasm is very dynamic. Et vivant. C'est très vivant. So it cross-pollinates very easily, and new varieties are born in the process. New varieties come into existence. So you begin with 1 variety or 2 varieties, and there's cross-pollination taking place, and we see new varieties as it were. Well, mango also appeals to the senses. So we wanted a species for that project that appeals to all the senses. You know, we did our homework, you know. We said you must be able to, when you see it, you're excited. When you smell it, when you feel it, when it drops from the tree, you can hear it, you know. So all the senses. Yes. And your mouth waters when you see it. So what's about the project? This is really the project, the proprietary project that is in process. It came out of the idea that we need a keystone species and a multi-purpose plant, or what I call the human face of mango, or botany with a human face. So we decided, to use ethnoscience. That's the knowledge that resides in the traditional knowledge and the folklore, because that's already an appeal. The people know about the mango. It's in the songs. It's in the dances. So we decided to use a plant that we celebrate already, but it has other purposes and another function. So the ethnosphere, what the people know, the stories that we get and the knowledge came from the traditional folks that tell you mango is best to plant on the riverbanks. We have made mistakes in the past where we get species from abroad, other species, and we plant them on the riverbanks and they don't survive. But because of years of experience in the folk tradition, mango is one of the best to stabilize the soil. Because of its root system and because of its crown it provides water, it keeps water in the soil, etc., etc. So we decide to dovetail the biosphere and the ethnosphere to give us the true web of life. And that was taken from Terralingua, who says that the true web of life is based on the biosphere and the ethnosphere. These two coming together to give us that real web of life. They cannot exist without each other. It's chaos. So the origin of mango, as I said, is from Asia. And I deliberately put Asia there to know that it's a gift from Asia, that geographic area. And the historicity of mango is that it came to the New World in the 1700s via Brazil, and it spread through the entire Caribbean. So in the Caribbean in the 1700s, and we have several varieties, as I have said, by the Portuguese, that's correct. It was the Portuguese who introduced it from Africa. Very good. From Africa, by the Portuguese, into Brazil, and they spread it over the Caribbean. Excellent. I like that interjection, you know. It sharpens my presentation. And you have the genetic diversity, as I said, is very dynamic. So it grows easily. Sometimes if you don't manage it, it can even become an invasive species in certain environments. It has a wide distribution, several life zones. It's very good in agroforestry. And it's good for food security, good for wildlife, good for livelihood, and climate adaptation. They say repetition deepens impression. So I'm repeating a few things there so that it could sink in. So the project is OECS project. OECS means Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. It's a mango planting program. We could not get funding to do what we want with what we really want to do. So we had to nice it up, make it sexy, so that the UN could buy, because it's a UN-funded project. If we just say we want money to plant mango trees, they will say, So we said, oh, climate change, that's the big thing. So we had to nice it up in climate change so that we could get funding from the EU. So it's a, oh, I'm sorry. I'm pressing the wrong thing here. So it's an OECS project for EU funding and collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Sustainable Development, and local community. My role in the project, apart from planting later on, was to design the project. That was my role, to design the project, to put the project together, get all the information together, and to develop the terms of reference for the project. So I had a dual role, designing the project and putting the TOR together. And I brought a team of experts, and we had what we call consultations with farmers. You cannot do things on your own and just put it down the farmer's throat. That don't work anymore. You know, you've got to engage them in the process. And so we did that with several consultations, and we came with Forestry Department, of course, that the key thing for the project is tree planting on riverbanks and steep slopes. We also looked at we also looked at mango festivals to generate public interest, yearly mango festivals, celebrating mango in different ways, and let people creative juices flow and their imagination so that they could come with the new mango dress, the new mango map, the new mango hat, and all of that kind of thing. So we wanted people to get engaged, not just the scientists out there doing the esoteric little work and bringing it to the people. We want the people to be generating from the grassroots up, generating ideas. Education in the schools, advocacy on several levels. Mango planting project, of course, and so forth. And the community, people and plants engagement. I flagged that in red so that we have to engage the people. Sometimes we focus there alone, but we forget the people, the community. These are the trustees of the body of knowledge. They are the ones to guard it. My boss used to say, my former boss, when I was a herbarium curator, you may plant all of these trees in this generation, and next generation are not engaged, or the people, they'll cut it down to make charcoal. So you got to engage them and show them the value. And the long term, the short term, mid term, and long term. So, the technical specifications I'll go through quickly, as I don't really. The project scope is to build community and natural resource resilience to climate change impact within a vulnerable watersheds in St. Lucia. And the objective is to improve sustainable land use management and capacity to adapt to climate change impact through cultivation of mangoes in farms and forest lands. I got to go quickly. The strategic output, actions and desires and outcome output is one. We decide to plot sites for rehabilitation, a minimum of 8.7 kilometers of riverbanks, and another 10 hectares have been identified on the combination of private forest farm and natural forest bordering farmlands, and selected for cultivation of mango trees. I got to go quick now. This is the concept of the Jardin Creole, but mango, as you see in there, is one of the keystone species that adorns the Jardin Creole. The concept of the Jardin Creole is what I have here. It's a Creole garden, where it's sustainable Creole garden because of its position and composition. It's not a monocrop, but everything is in the Creole garden with its medicine, with its food, etc., etc. Mango is also a medicinal plant that is intramil. It is a very important plant intramil, scientifically authenticated as being efficacious medicinally. And I have the tramil pharmacopoeia. It's part of the Caribbean pharmacopoeia, and mango is in that pharmacopoeia. So it's a what we call an all-rounder plant. It's good for medicine, shelter, etc. I got to go. It's also an important plant in Guatemala, in Haiti, in the Anglophone Islands, and St. Lucia, in the entire Caribbean as well. Mango as a buffer, windbreaker. This was taken not too long ago in the passage of Hurricane Matthew. That's recent, just a few weeks ago. And what you see here is that the banana plantation that the farmers depend on, they have all broken their necks. They have lost their crop. 85% of our banana cultivation fell as a result of Hurricane Matthew. But look at what's happening. The mango trees are standing. It's evident that mango is resilient to the high hill force winds. So we lost a lot of money. The farmers are suffering as a result of banana. It's already tough on the market, and now they've lost their crop, and that happens periodically. And so mango we see as a plan to deal with that. So we decided that there was a program in 2008 by the Forestry Department of a riverbank reassessment and rehabilitation plan for St. Lucia. So we piggybacked on that plan because we work with what we already have, and we decide to move into these areas, banks and river banks, to plant mangoes. So we have taken from what's there, and we have sort of narrowed the project down to these areas on the island where we'll reforest with mango trees. The proposed sheds, I could go through. I wouldn't bother to go through that, except to see the Roseau watershed, the Fondor Tumasi cul-de-sac, different parts and the quantities: 5 hectares, 2.5 kilometers, 2.7 kilometers, etc., etc. Now, community. I have to go back to community, because community and livelihood, what I call botany with the human face. So we would encourage people to eat local, buy local, do more things with mango, jams, all sorts of things. That's part of the marketing strategy, to encourage people into the Mango-ness so that they would get involved. And salad, mango salad, revive it. When I grew up as a boy, I would eat a plate full of mango salad and I would go to school. We want to bring back that kind of authenticity, the eating what you grow, etc., to reduce our import bills. And we want to involve the youth. In our mind, school youth planting mango trees, that's already in progress, and planting trees shows faith in the future. When you plant a tree, you're hoping, and we want our people to live in hope. So the results and design is, of course, the processing and selection of the varieties, cultivars, the sections of the mango, selections of the mango, and the criteria for selection. That's another process, the whole criteria. Which mangoes? There are several varieties. Those that are most studied, those that produce the best fruit. So it's a combination of factors to give us the one that is sexy enough for the farmers to buy. Because the farmers are not easy. They've been fooled too many times. Where the government and the technocrats tell them plant this, plant that, and you'll get a market, and it goes to waste. So these are the realities on the ground. I'm speaking about real life issues here. And therefore, we have the criteria for selection. And these are some of the criteria for selection: high availability, widely distribution, etc., I wouldn't elaborate on that. Those that you can prove that are not too sweet. We have a diabetic problem in St. Lucia, so you do not want too much. Those that produce too much sugar, we have enough of that. So a good balance, that are not too sweet, but they can be used in the hotels, in the dishes, etc., I want to go very quick. So again, I wouldn't belabor that. I will move on. In landscaping, use mango as a landscape species now. So you use it in landscaping, not just as a beautiful plant. The aesthetics of mango, the mango tree. I got to go quickly. I will skip that. It's just the riparian zones to perform the expected ecological functions, sustainably provided corresponding ecosystem services, riverbanks must be stabilized where necessary, etc., etc. And that's what we're trying to do, a sort of bioengineering where necessary. So you would have up here the fast-growing trees, the slow-growing ones, the shrubs, the understories, the crops, the farmers, and you would have the river banks, especially in the estuaries where you steam bank with bioengineering. And again, another slide showing more vividly the Hurricane Matthew phenomenon. And mango, by the way, mango is good for, even the dogs eat mango. Even the dogs celebrate our Mango-ness. Yes, they do. Not just the birds, but the dogs. They eat their mangoes. They enjoy it. It's a very wonderful gay time. So the duration of the program, the pilot program would be 18 to 24 months as a pilot project, hoping to replicate it and take it to a new level, and perhaps spread it to the rest of the Caribbean, whosoever will. Or look at a keystone species with these same ideas that they could use another plant as a keystone species. And I'm extending that to you, to in your little areas, what you could perceive in your immediate environment as a cushion or to the impact of climate change, and that would cover sustainability and livelihoods. Let me go quickly. I do not need to expound on that. I think I've run my mouth enough. And showing faith in the future. Planting a tree always shows faith in the future of biodiversity, of which we are part of. Sometimes we speak that biodiversity is over there, and we are not part of it, or we are here, and biodiversity is over there. We are all part of that biodiversity. We are the pan-dominant species at the top of the food chain, but nonetheless, we are still part of biodiversity. It depends on us, and we depend on it. So we have to do our collective best to save our lives, to save the planet. And indeed, the birds love it. When it's mango, everybody is gay. man and beast is gay during that period. So this is my bibliography and reading list. And I just want to say gracias a todos, merci tout le monde, and thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing, and thank you kindly.
Yes. Eso es ánimo. Aquí están las preguntas. Empezamos por aquí. Congratulations, Pierre. This area around Jalapa, there is a lot of mango. Have to Veracruz, Jalapa, have a middle. They are extensive place to mango. You start 10 years ago this project?
Hello?
You start this program 10 years ago?
Yeah, a few years ago we started conceptualizing, getting ideas and brainstorming and going in the community and talking to the technocrats and thinking it through. And then we decided we would put a documentary together on mangoes, and it began growing, the idea of just start coming together. So it was a brainchild of a number of us, including myself, that have been saying, plant more mangoes. But the debate was, why should we plant more mangoes when every year the land is littered with ripe mangoes that we don't use, we don't eat, it goes to waste. That was one of the arguments. So that is why we say we need to learn more uses, make paper with it, do other stuff with it, diversify the uses, etc., etc.
Congratulations for your love for the mango.
Yes.
It's me again. Laurent, thank you. This is really nice. You know, and, I love mango. I think it's beautiful fruit. Okay.
It's the food of the gods.
Yeah, it's very nice. Okay. Well, just leave God out of this for now. Okay. Now, if you want to come down to the nitty-gritty of doing things, of trying to do things, okay, this is a big task, and to me it seems like there are several issues with it. Okay. The first one to me is you mentioned people, yes, that's the key. The educating the people in this to bring awareness is the key. So I'm asking you, how do you plan to go about this so that people become aware of this? Okay. Secondly, I know because I need to change glasses. So that's my first question, especially in a context where the government is promising other stuff, other crops. This is happening everywhere, you know, and it's not working, it is failing. So you need to find a way so that you are going to engage people, and that's creating awareness, and that's a job and a half. That's really, really difficult, so you need to find a way about this, you know. One idea that could work is like, don't look at a big thing, just have like, if one person plants a tree per week, including the children, you know, at the end of the year, do you see, I mean, if you put a burden on people about preserving this is your idea, it might not be their idea. Do you see, the mango is not endangered now, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, all right, okay, but are people aware of its function within the system?
They understand the importance of mangoes, but we want to, you see, the Caribbean and specifically St. Lucia is crying out for a panacea. We need something, an economic boost in our veins, in our economic veins. And bananas doesn't work, look.
Yeah,
the farmers work and it's gone. They've lost their livelihood. We've lost the European market.
Yeah.
You know, we've lost, our economy is in shambles. So what we're trying to do with the mango is we have it already. The people know it. So we are trying to bring mango festivals, for example, and let people create things. Let the creativity merge again. So people could do all kinds of things with mangoes. You know what I mean?
So to me there's another issue, because if you are trying to promote mango as a crop, as something that you are going to market and sell to boost the economy, that puts the species on a different scale, because you're going to have to go into production.
We're already doing that on a small scale.
Okay, but if you want to boost the economy, it has to go onto a higher level of production.
Yes, absolutely.
And that implies problems of sustainability and how you're going to go about it. You know, this is like value chains, and that's another subject. It's another challenge.
Everything has a side effects or a challenge.
Yeah, so, it's challenging.
Yes, it is challenging. I admit it is. It's sexy. That's why we have to make it sexy.
Yeah.
We have to show the people the benefits. We have to show them the advantages. Because everything has an advantage and a disadvantage. That's the way life is. This is in this space we call planet Earth. That's a reality. That is a reality in our existence. You know?
I think to me the first thing I would do is, you know, if I can suggest anything, is like to create awareness in people and to have one person planting one tree a week or something and start to reach communities that way.
It's more than that. We plan to go to the communities that are already looking for ideas or give us ideas. And we begin with this. The festival wouldn't be a national-wide festival. We're not beginning. We want it in local. We have experience where we have something we call the Journée Creole. And it started in a little community and it just mushroomed. It just mushroomed. So we're going to be piggybacking on that idea that have worked and see if we could. So we'll be challenging people too.
Yeah.
Who could come out in the best mango suit with the leaves? You know? So people begin to say mango is important. They already know it's important, but to heighten the importance. And we're going to give them the added benefits of climate change, river bank, because we have problems with floods every year. Why are your houses being flooded? Because the rivers have lost the trees that ameliorate or help to slow down the water with their roots, etc., etc. Take all your crops away. These are real issues that people have. So when you tell the farmers, plant mangoes, you got to tell them why. I agree. And we need to have a dialogue. Not a monologue, but a dialogue with the stakeholders. It's tough.
It's very difficult, but you know, this is a very nice project, and it needs to take off. You know, you need to get money for this, and it needs to take off.
Mira, esta discusión o este diálogo, como tú has querido llamarlo, pero yo quiero que mis amigos mexicanos me oigan, y entonces quiero decir esto en español. Para el mundo desarrollado, y quienes lo representan, el Fondo Monetario Internacional, los Rothschild de Londres, la Quinta Avenida, Tokio y The Panama Papers, los mangos son food for monkeys.
Yes.
Si se llegara a posicionar el mango en el mercado internacional, que es lo que han tratado de hacer los brasileños y que en Europa han logrado conseguir mercado, los señores de Missouri y otros por ahí van a ser el transgénico del mango.
Sin pepa.
Y entonces todo el trabajo de base, la inversión económica, humana y territorial, como sucedió con el banano y como sucedió con la palma de aceite y como está sucediendo con el café, la van a aprovechar la inversión, la Quinta Avenida. Y entonces me parece excelente que se ponga a nivel de las comunidades caríbicas primero, para potenciar el recurso humano que vaya a la escuela, no nos interesa que vayan en Mercedes, no nos interesa que vayan en Volkswagen, nos interesa que vayan a la escuela. Si llegara a posicionarse en el mercado internacional el mango, ya el aguacate de México ya se posicionó, y es una gran cosa para la economía mexicana tener ese mercado. Pero hay que ver cuáles son también los efectos negativos. Ya esos casos que mencioné, la palma africana, el banano, ya el banano está hecho transgénico, la piña está transgénica, la papa, los alemanes han hecho el transgénico a la papa ya. Entonces, excelente que se parta de esta forma, teniendo presente que hay que tener la segunda alternativa. ¿Cuál será la segunda alternativa en ese caso? Es cuestión de pensar en que la recuperación de la tierra que se va a hacer con ese cultivo, protegiéndola de la erosión y del cambio climático, va a dar la posibilidad de desarrollar otros sectores, como pueden ser el bioturismo, el ecoturismo, el farmacoturismo, y entonces por ahí tiene que ir la cosa. Dejemos los mercados mundiales, que lo único que hacen es chuparnos. Desde el momento en que el Fondo Monetario Internacional se da cuenta que hay un artículo que se puede clonar, y lo clonan. Muchas gracias.
¿Alguien más?
Baile. Dance, baile.
I get shy. Thank you, gracias.